Mets up 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the third. Last night they had ceremonies here attaching Charlie Manuel's plaque to the Phillies Wall of Fame, and Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with the honoree. Kev?
Yeah, Charlie, you know, I was lucky enough to have a lot of neat baseball conversations with you when you were here. And last night, what was that like for you, walking down the red carpet, all the adulation, as you said, the hugs yesterday? What was that like?
It was fantastic. You know, I didn't know how I was going to react or act, but it was a big moment for me, and I really appreciate everything about it. I was kind of leery when I started talking. The mic, the mic was kind of delayed, and I couldn't really hear some things I was saying. I kind of was, I was kind of panicking a little bit. I'm thinking, no, I want to make sure that they understand what I'm saying. And outside that, everything was great. People tell me it came out all right. I guess that's what counts.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was a little delayed, so it comes back to you a little late. You know, when you manage, there's so many things about your style, and one of them was you would walk through the clubhouse a lot and talk to your players a lot, and that doesn't happen a lot anymore. Why do you think that was important for you to do? I think that was my way of communicating, and I think I treated people. If your name wasn't in the lineup that day or you hadn't been getting to play, I didn't quit talking to you. I didn't turn away from you, and I didn't want you to think that I'd forgot about you, and that I didn't have plans to come back and play you, if that makes sense. And I try to always put the best lineup on the field we possibly could have. I wanted to put you in a situation where you could succeed and be comfortable. And if I got the most out of you, I feel like that was the biggest thing, and that we had a chance to win. Who taught you to do that? Where did that thought process come from?
I think a lot of it. I had managers like Billy Martin. He was a vocal kind of guy, and actually he had certain guys that he liked to play with, and I happened to be one of those guys. And Walter Austin, where he was kind of quiet, but Walter Austin he would always come around, and he had I remember he always had some way of touching you, like putting his hand on your shoulder or something like that, and saying something in a real positive way about you, about something that happened that day, or something that he did. It was good. Like maybe he hit like 25 straight shots or something. He'd always kind of get a laugh with you, or he always wanted to know. He always wanted to know the things that you liked and things like that. And I think being around the different kind of characters and people and who they are, I think that's how I learned that it's very important to really communicate with every player on your team, and also treat him like that that he's a good player, and I think that breeds confidence to him, and never forget about it.
Yeah, Austin found a connection. That's interesting. As Ashley goes down, as Kendrick up now, as we talk to Charlie Manuel. It's baseball's going to have a new commissioner next year, and you've been around this game all your life. If you were to go in that seat, what do you think this game needs, Charlie, to kind of spice it up? What needs to be done going forward to keep this game healthy?
I think I think that the next commissioner that's going there is going to, he definitely is going to be a high-profile guy who's got a lot of experience. I look for you and maybe to see some changes, but I think overall, I think the biggest thing that kind of I'm concerned, or my worries would be, is that when I look at it, I have philosophies just like TC has philosophies, and my philosophy is nothing is more important than the game. The priority is to win the game. Yeah. And I think sometimes with everything that goes on and the events at the ballpark and the scoreboards, everything, and all the color that's added into the game, I think it's and of course the money, things like that. I think the game, that people forget that it's 100. They look at it. They look at it completely different from what I do. It's a 162 game schedule. We got to start from the first game of the season, and that day is important, and that every day we play is important. And the game is the number one priority. I think if people start looking at it and studying it and things like that, which I think they will, I think we'll get back to more serious baseball.
I think that's pretty well said. You talked about TC, Terry Collins, of course. He was your teammate, AAA Albuquerque. So what was Terry Collins, the ball player, and the teammate like? He was always
Terry Collins loved the game. He was definitely a student of the game. He was a utility player on our team, and he knew his role, but nobody outworked him, and nobody would out hustle him. He learned how to play the game the right way. If Terry Collins made mistakes in a game or something, it might be because that actually he didn't have the foot speed or the quickness or like the strength in his swing, you like to get the job done. But it didn't. His problem was never the like of studying the game and knowing how to play and hustling.
Before we let you go, as review bats here, and hopefully give us a little time. Howard and Rollins and Utley, what did they mean to you, and what do you think when you watch them now?
I look at them now, and I think all three of them in the last 2 or 3 years has had some downtime from injuries. But at the same time, they're getting a little older. They don't put up the 300 numbers or the 290s that Jimmy used to hit with 90 RBIs or 75 to 90 RBIs in leadoff hole. They don't score. He doesn't score the 125 runs anymore. But if you look, it's hard to find somebody that can move him off the field. Yeah. He's still got the talent. He's still got enough quickness in his bat and his swing. Chase Utley, his numbers at times are not. It's not that 310 or 320 or 330 we used to see, and the 30 homers. He's kind of, with his injuries over the course of years, and he's getting a little bit older. He's probably in that 15 to 20 home run mark, and he's probably at the 75, 80 RBI total. And his numbers, is dropping off. Ryan Howard's the same. Ryan Howard probably is the one guy in the last 2 or 3 years. He had a very serious injury. I don't think people realize how serious it was.
With that Achilles, it's certainly tough to come back from. And Charlie, listen, it's a pleasure talking to you. It's always fun talking baseball. I don't think Met fans like you very much, but it was always a pleasure coming to the park and catching up with you. Best of luck to you.
Let me tell you something. I like the Met fans. I mean that. Hey, I want to beat you all the time when I played you. I want to beat the Mets fans, but I love the Mets fans for being Met fans.
Yeah,
how about that?
You love the rivalry, didn't you?
Exactly.
Charlie, good seeing you. Best of luck. All right, guys. Charlie Manuel, let's go back to you.
It's delightful listening to Charlie talk, isn't it?
Charlie is a terrific guy. You can just tell the kind of personality that he has by the way he expresses himself. Very humble. I found it very interesting that he learned from Walter Alston. Mm-hmm. Everybody learns from everybody. Gary, in your profession, you learn from someone that you listened to, that you wanted them maybe do things that you found that they did well, that you incorporated into your broadcast, your style.
I think
same thing in baseball.
It's true in any profession.
Yeah.
And you take a little bit from those that preceded you and you make it your own.
Exactly. And another interesting thing was that Charlie never was really an everyday player. He was a bench player. So he would be sensitive to being ignored by a manager by being maybe the 25th man on a roster or just a pinch hitter. So he went out of his way. I found that very interesting, to make sure that his bench players felt they were part of the team. It's all good stuff. That was a great interview by Kevin. Great questions.
Meanwhile, after Wheeler had struck out